are so many things in this house that you can choose as your subject for your drawing practice, but you're so confused to choose which one, so you decided to draw all of them. So can you take the challenge? Hi, I'm Rama and welcome to my art space, and come on, I invite you to take again your pencil and your paper and draw with me. There's really no textbook ways on how to make a drawing. To keep first in mind, you have to capture the outline of each of the subject. In my part, I'd first catch the bigger ones. Because this is sort of a wide image, I'm gonna use the whole of the spreadsheet of this notebook. So let's first start with the images. Capturing the images, I first make light outline for these, so you don't have to catch the detail. Guys, this is the part 2 of my draw with me session with my pencil drawing sketches, and for the longest time, this is the second time I've done a pencil sketch because I usually paint. Now, let me remind you that when the more complicated drawing is, or the more details it needs, the longer the time you need to finish it. But it's okay if you leave a drawing for the next day, or the next day, or even the next day. As I've said, don't put in the details of each of the objects first. You would first need to make a draft of the outline or the shapes of each of the objects, so you would know where to place them on the paper. So when I say a draft, it's just a guide on where you would put on the details of your drawing. Once you are sure of your draft, that's where the details come next. If you would notice dito sa part ng mga plato, no, di ba parang may mga nakaharang na parang mga railings ba tawag doon sa dishwasher. I don't put up the lines muna kasi I put first what is behind those lines of the dishwasher, so that mailagay ko muna yung details on that. And then what I do is that I put first yung mga plates, yung mga plates na nakalagay dun sa dishwasher before I put the I put the lines on the dishwasher. Para kasi ang technique diyan, I first put what's behind the background, and then saka ko ilalagay what's on the foreground. And it's good if you would put first what's in the background first, or what object is in the background first, so that it would be easier to measure how the foreground subject or the foreground objects would look like. So it's the same with painting. You first put the background, and then little by little you put the objects that's on the forefront, and then lastly the object that's in the very foreground. Okay, that's where we can define these plates. Yeah, that's it. You can follow along. Yan, okay. You can see, di ba, itong mga lines na to, that yung mga nasisingit, yan, you can now add pressure on them kasi yan, may guide na tayo. That's why we make the draft, because this is the guide where to draw the actual drawing. Diba? Along the way, you can copy the shadows of these objects. So, tulad na ginagawa ko, I would get dito, dito shadows na. Although I first draw the outline para, we have this guide. I wish I can make a class, but I really have to pray for this. If it is the Lord's will for me to hold classes, I'm really thankful for all of you who really want me to teach you, and I would really, really want that. You can see we have made defined first part pa lang yan. So now let's go to the second part, or the second half of the spread. So this is a more complicated one kasi it involves a basket. Now why do we involve a basket? Why do we have a basket? Because it's put there. So first, again, we make the outline, or we define the outline ng mga draft outline na ginawa natin. Once we are sure na nasa tamang pwesto sila. Okay, so for this basket, medyo, i-define natin na ganyan. Grabe, madugo ito. This is going to be very detailed. You can do line drawing din naman. I mean, when I say line drawing, there's not much depth in your subject. Pero ako kasi, I like putting depth into my subject. This is the last part of the drawing. And I forgot the aluminum foil on the top. Let's just add the aluminum foil. Kaloka. I don't know what I'm copying anymore. There's also curtains in the back, pero medyo we won't get too much of the curtains. Parang what we'll do is just we'll have the essence these curtains. Kasi this is what I just wanted to emphasize. It's okay to copy din yung background. As I've said kanina, I would first sketch the background, diba? Before putting the foreground picture. Pero in this case, sa background ng mga curtains, hindi ko inano yung curtains. I didn't put the curtains first kasi parang for me, this drawing parang I wouldn't want to emphasize too much on the curtains. What I wanted to emphasize is just these, yung mga bagay sa harapan. Pero if I have some time, more time today, I'm gonna focus on the curtains first. Yun ang unahin ko. Pero for now, hindi muna. Next time na lang. Lagyan na lang natin ng konting texture. Lagyan na lang natin ng konting para kunwari, curtains. Ganun, yay! Kasi ito, tinatamad talaga ako. But you know what? I'm just showing you the technique on how to draw really complicated things. Just little shades, put shadows. Actually naman yung purpose ng background. Add more shades here. So this is where the shadow is falling. Okay, yes. Woo! Oh, wow, I'm done. Let's not forget the signature. So these are just basics on how to draw complicated pictures. So like when making simple objects, ganun din yung principle. You first take the outline of the subject and also the depth by noting the light and the shadows of the object. The outline is where you can start. And then, you can only add the depth as you go along. Diba? You will also develop your own style and technique once you really get deeper into drawing. I hope you're also encouraged with what I did. So I hope you also really enjoyed this activity. And yes, please keep on drawing. If you're not yet done, habang ako tapos na, just keep on drawing. Keep on drawing. Just think of the outcome as an encouragement to what you're doing. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you really learned from my drawing sessions. And if you really like this video, please click the thumbs up button. And also, if you're here for the first time in my channel, make sure to click subscribe. And also click the notification bell button so that you will receive notification for my future videos. Again, I'm Rema and hope to see you again in my next art space. Bye! And I invite you again to take your pencil. Yeah. I hope you really heard from my drawing session.